Dear students, in this lecture number 2 on unit number 2 impulse water turbines, we will discuss the Pelton wheel construction and principle of working. Okay. So Pelton wheel can be seen in this pictorial view. The overall turbine has a disc shape, a circular disc type of shape with a number of buckets or the vanes attached to the disc along its periphery. That is the overall shape of the Pelton wheel or Pelton turbine. Okay. These vanes are called as buckets in a Pelton turbine. Right. This is mounted over the horizontal shaft, and a jet of a water is supplied by a nozzle like this, right? And this jet is made to strike on one bucket at a time. So arrangement is such that the jet will strike on a single bucket at a time. So that will exert a force, a tangential force on the Pelton wheel, so that the wheel starts rotating. Okay. And the wheel is covered externally by a casing, right, just for safety purpose and for covering purpose. So an American engineer, Lester A. Pelton, discovered this turbine way back in 1880. Okay. It operates under very high heads. The heads are up to 1800 meter, okay, or quite large and requires comparatively less quantity of water. Okay, more the head, less quantity of water is required to produce same amount of power. Head means it is the vertical height between the water level in the dam and the water level at the tail rest side. Tail rest side is the discharge side of the turbine. So vertical height between the headrest level and tail rest level. It is a pure impulse type of turbine in which a jet of fluid is delivered by the nozzle at a very high velocity onto the buckets. We know very well the function of a nozzle. Nozzle converts the inlet pressure energy of a fluid into outlet kinetic energy. So conversion of energy takes place in a nozzle, pressure energy into a kinetic energy. So it results in a high velocity jet. Those are directed that is directed over the buckets. These buckets are usually more than 15 in number, are fixed evenly. Okay, they are spaced evenly on the periphery of a circular wheel. Right, these are mounted rigidly on the circular runner, which is generally mounted on a horizontal shaft. Each bucket is divided vertically into two parts by a splitter. So each of the bucket is divided into two parts by a splitter edge or a splitter that has a sharp edge at the center of the buckets. And it looks like, the bucket looks like a double hemispherical cup. So that is regarding construction of a bucket. Okay. Here you can see the construction of a bucket. It looks like a double hemispherical cup shape. So these are two hemispheres, cup shape, and this is at the center there is a splitter edge on which the jet is directed. So jet will impact on the splitter edge, that is the center of a bucket, and it will get divided into two streams that will flow in the internal surface of the buckets. The impact of water on the buckets causes the runner to rotate and thus develops mechanical energy, right? The impact of jet will result in a generation of a tangential force on the runner. and thus it develops, it makes the runner to rotate and produces mechanical energy. The buckets deflect the jet through an angle of about 160 to 165 degree, right, in the same plane as of the jet. So here you can see the jet is impacting and the bucket is deflecting it like this. So this is the outgoing stream of water partly, and this is another outgoing stream of a water, right. So this angle of deflection is 160 to 165 degrees, somewhere in that range, okay. And this happens in a one plane. After doing work on the buckets, the water is discharged in the tail race, that is the discharge side, and the whole energy transfer from the nozzle outlet to the tail race, all of that energy transfer takes place at constant pressure, okay, and the pressure is atmospheric pressure because the casing is open from the lower side. So that's why there is atmospheric pressure around the Pelton wheel runner. So all of the energy transfer takes place at constant pressure. The buckets are so shaped that water enters tangentially in the middle and discharges backward and flows again tangentially in both the directions to avoid thrust on the wheel. So here the entry of the jet is tangential over the bucket, as well as exit of the jets is tangential from the outlet tips of the bucket. The exiting bucket prevents the impact on the incoming bucket, right. So that is how the angle is given, so as to avoid thrust on the wheel on the incoming bucket. The casing of a Pelton wheel doesn't perform any hydraulic function. This is very important, but it is necessary. Casing of a Pelton wheel has no hydraulic function. It is not involved in energy conversion process, okay. It is necessary to safeguard the runner against any accident and also to prevent the splashing of water, right, and leads the water to the tail rest side. This is the overall dimensions of the Pelton wheel bucket, okay. So this is a bucket with a double hemispherical cup shape, and at the center of a bucket there is a splitter, which is a straight edge called as a splitter edge. The water jet of a given diameter d, it will strike at the center of a bucket on the splitter edge, and the water will be splitted into two streams. So like this, 50% of water flows in one cup, the remaining 50% of water will flow in the another cup in the internal surface of the buckets. While flowing, the water gets deflected by 160 to 165, somewhere around 170 degree, okay. Then these are the splitter angle is 10 to 15 degree, and these are overall dimensions of a bucket, empirical relations of a bucket. The number of buckets is given by this formula, the empirical formula, which we will use in solving the numericals. So number of buckets is Z, that is equal to 15 plus capital D upon 2 times small d. Capital D is the pitch circle diameter of the runner, and small d here is the diameter of the jet. Okay, these are some actual photos of a Pelton wheel turbine runner. So it is generally casted, right. This is a nozzle producing a jet, and here you can see the impact of jet on the splitter edge. So here this is a splitter edge and two hemispherical cups. So water is splitted, and half of the water will flow in one bucket, one cup, the remaining half water will flow in the another cup. The outgoing water should not strike the incoming bucket, the back side of a incoming bucket, that is prevented like this. So that's why this deflection of a stream of water is not 180 degree. Make a note of this. This is not a 180 degree deflection, it is rather 160 to 165 degree deflection, so that the outgoing water do not strike on the rear side of incoming bucket. That is not expected. Okay. Also, the bucket is provided with a notch. Here you can see this is a provision of a notch, so that the jet strikes on one bucket at a time, and the jet should not interfere with the incoming bucket. So here you can see the provision of a notch prevents the interference of a jet with multiple buckets. It will come in contact with one bucket at a time. Here these are some different sizes of a Pelton wheel runner. Here you can compare the various sizes of a Pelton wheel runner. Okay, and this is a horizontal configuration. A runner is provided mounted on a horizontal shaft, and this is a generator. What you see here, this one is a generator, right? Large bearings will be required to support these shafts. Next is a Pelton wheel with a multi-jet. Now what happens is, when you provide one jet, the power produced by the Pelton wheel is limited. So in actual power plants, one may go for multiple jets which are evenly spaced around the periphery of a runner. Multiple jets of same discharge rates can be provided at equal distance or even spacing, so that the tangential forces will be balanced over the runner. Okay, all of the jets will strike on the buckets at a time, at a given time, but they will be provided at equal angles, we can say, along the periphery circumference of the runner. Now in this diagram you see the 4 jets, so that will produce 4 times more power. How? Because each jet will result in one tangential force. Now since the jets are identical, there will be 4 times of a tangential forces acting on a one given runner. So that's why almost 4 times power, 4 times torque will be produced. So multi-jet arrangement is used for producing more power from a given runner. So this is a Pelton turbine with a single jet. This has 2 jets. This one has 4 jets, and this one has a 6 jet configuration. Okay. Now when you go for this multiple jets, the Pelton turbine is generally installed with a vertical axis as the orientation. So this one turbine has a vertical axis, right? Also this one has a vertical axis, preferably vertical axis. If there are less number of jets, like a 1 jet or 2 jet, then the position of axis of a shaft is horizontal, right, for less few number of jets. Okay, thank you.